Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've uploaded hundreds of talks here that I've recorded at meetings in West LA, and I've also recorded conventions starting in 2013. I've got a bunch of those up. And Walt and Mary Murray, the original owners of Encore Audio Archives, started the company in the 80s, and Walt recorded Joe and Charlie's and a bunch of stuff down in Vista, California. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994. I hope you find something you like, so please like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. If you want to hear something that I don't have or that you don't see, I'll see that I get it. Anyways, take care and have a great day if you want to.
Let's welcome today's speaker, Laura.
Thank you. Good morning, I'm Laura and I'm an alcoholic. And I am so grateful to be sober and to be here. And I am really nervous. I mean, this is a big meeting, so let me just put that out there. Thank you, Don, for asking me to speak. He asked me about 8 weeks ago, and I haven't really thought about it because I know just in AA, we just need to show up and tell the truth. So I really didn't get nervous until I showed up this morning and everybody's like, "Are you nervous? Are you nervous? Are you nervous?" And I was sitting here, I just want to say that, because I'm not used to this. I live in San Diego. My home group is the Belly Up Tavern in Solana Beach, which is a fun meeting. But this meeting is on steroids or something. And I was thinking, I just wanted to center myself and be quiet. And if I was a newcomer watching this, like there's people holding signs saying shh, and then somebody ringing the bell, and then the piano. So anyway, but I am just amazed that I am standing here sober. My sobriety date is July 10th, 2000. And just to get it out of the way, I like to tell my stats. It's kind of, I don't know, if you're in this room, you qualify, but we always feel the need to qualify. It took me 5 years in and out of the program, and 6 rehabs and 18 medical detoxes, ambulance rides, psych wards. I didn't think I was going to get this deal. And when I came to my first AA meeting, I didn't like the solution that was offered at all. I thought it was a little extreme, and if I could just figure out a way to, drink like a lady. But anyway, I was born in Lexington, Kentucky, and I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. I moved there, so that's the Southern accent. I am an only child, and my mom divorced my biological father when I was 4. And I think that's kind of my first childhood memory. We were leaving Kentucky and driving in the Bel Air Chevrolet or something to Atlanta, and my grandparents were crying, and I remember that. But I always thought as a child, I was an only child and a latchkey kid, if any of you know what that is. Like I came home, both my parents worked, and I wasn't allowed to have people over, and I wasn't allowed to go anywhere. And I always felt like I was missing out on something, and that they were having fun without me, whoever they were. I just never felt a part of. And I started drinking in high school, my senior year. I went to a private school through my junior year, and I was like Little Miss Preppy, monogrammed. And then my senior year was the 80s and punk rock, and my mom almost cried every time I walked out the door. And I really liked that. It was like, good, she's crying. And I got so rebellious my senior year. But I remember the first time that I got drunk. It allowed me to, be silly, and I just lost all my inhibitions, and I was able to get the attention that I so desperately craved at home. And I'd like to say about my mom that my mom was a rageaholic, and she was raised by an alcoholic and had, you know, a really bad childhood. And then my stepdad, who to me is my dad, we didn't know what to call it then, but I mean, he was a hoarder. And I used to always think, oh, I wish Dr. Phil could get a hold of my dad. And but I was kind of relieved when I found out, okay, that's what it is. But you put a rageaholic and a hoarder together, it was not a calm life for me. And I thought everything was my fault. You know, I thought it was my job to make everybody happy. So that's just kind of how I felt as a child. And then, so the drinking age in Atlanta was 18, and and then they changed it to 19, but I was grandfathered in. So I became a daily drinker at 19. And I was going to community college, but I never went to my classes because every night in Atlanta I knew what bar to go to and where the happy hour was. And I mean, I used to, and I would just be so hungover during the day and not go to class, and then, you know, get dressed up and look like a business person to go to happy hour. And that was just that's what I did. And I thought that I was having fun, and I thought that I was cool. And then I met my first husband when I was 20, and I met his family, and I fell in love with his mom. His mom was this beautiful lady. They lived in Miami, and she played tennis in the morning, had lunch, had wine with lunch, did a little shopping, went to the country club for dinner, had more drinks, had after-dinner drinks, and I thought, this is what I want. I want to be a part of this family. And I can make things happen. And so anyway, I became part of that family. And he was an alcoholic. And, you know, we were in our 20s. And by the time, and so I was a daily drinker at 19, every day, and blackout drinking. I was divorced at 29, and really, I couldn't hold down a job. I had a job as an outside salesperson, and I didn't know I was an alcoholic when I was hanging out with alcoholics and being allowed to drink all day. But when you have to get up and go to work and you can't function without vodka, you know, I knew that was a problem, but I couldn't stop. And I had to have a couple of the little airplane bottles just to get myself to a sales meeting. And I thought nobody could smell vodka. And anyway, so at 30 years old, I went home to Atlanta, and I told my parents, you know, I need help. I don't know what's wrong with me. And I was afraid. I was really kind of hoping that it was something really serious wrong with me and that it wasn't alcohol. And I mean, I just don't take my privilege of drinking away from me. So even though it was miserable, I didn't know any other way. So I went to see a psychiatrist. And this lady put me on, I mean, there was a line outside of her office. And she literally spent like 15 minutes with me and diagnosed me as bipolar and put me on Klonopin, lithium, a bunch of things, and said, and don't drink. And so looking back, I mean, I didn't know. I wasn't educated. I had not been to Alcoholics Anonymous. I didn't know, but you know, if you're drinking a pint of vodka a day, you're probably going to have mood swings. And I was. And so that did not work. So I ended up I ended up, oh God, I hate telling this. It's been a while since I told my story. I have to be truthful. So here I am, 30 years old, back living at home with my mother and my father. This outpatient place told me to get a job. They told my parents, don't let her drive, don't let her have her car. I had gone through all my divorce money. They wanted me to get a job and live in a sober living and take the bus to work. And I was appalled and so arrogant. Like, I am not, if this is what sobriety is, I'm not going to do this. And wouldn't you know, I'm in a bar. Alcoholics have a way of like attracting codependents. I met my next husband. Somehow I had maybe some blonde highlights left or something. I don't know. But we had a short romance, and he lived out of town. He lived in Chicago. And I truly thought, new guy, new city, I won't be an alcoholic. And we actually got married pretty quickly. And within the first 3 months of my marriage, I had to be medically detoxed. And I do not know to this day, except God's grace and a little sickness mixed together, why that man did not annul our marriage. And I really am so grateful because he helped save my life until I wanted to save my life. And he is the one, God bless him, that paid for 6 rehabs and 18 medical detoxes and went to these family weeks. And I really can't believe that I am sober. And so let me just tell you, like, the end of the end. I mean, I went to all these, he kept sending me to nice rehabs, these little fluffy, not like Malibu. That was before all those existed, which I'm sorry I missed it, kind of. But not really. I don't want to go back. I'm so grateful. But, he sent me to these nice rehabs. And, I would drink on the plane on the way home. I kept getting sent to Alcoholics Anonymous. And I kept hearing God. And I was like, how is God going to keep me from going to the liquor store? I just don't understand. And it didn't sound appealing, a spiritual way of life. And it sounded boring. And, I would hear people say, if I just don't drink today, then I'm a success. And I still had such that entitlement and arrogance. And, it takes what it takes. It just takes what it takes to people coming back and to the newcomers. My message is, if you are still breathing and you are sitting in AA, there is hope. And you will eventually absolutely love it, I promise. But the end was, I'd already been to 5 rehabs. We had gotten to the point where we would try to just detox me without going to the hospital, because I don't know if you know this, but insurance companies don't pay for 8 medical detoxes a year. It gets really expensive. So the last 10 days of my drinking was, it was taking a magnum of wine, a huge thing, to just keep me from, I'd had seizures. Like, if I did not get alcohol in my body, I would have a seizure. And I was so afraid of having a seizure. And so my husband, my ex-husband now, and still good friend and angel from God, I just wouldn't have married him if I would have been sober. And he probably wouldn't have married me if he would have been weller. So he would just make sure there was alcohol there during the day, and he would go to work. And for 10 days, I did not take a shower. I could not keep anything down, not even water. I mean, my body was so addicted, it just wanted alcohol. And I mean, I was hearing classical music, and there was no classical music playing. And what happened is I had, I wanted to die. I knew that people had drank themselves to death. And I really wanted to drink myself to death. And I was trying. And every morning I kept waking up. And I thought, I can't get sober. And I can't get drunk. I wasn't getting drunk. And I just wouldn't die. And on the 10th day, I remembered this business card because I was seeing a therapist. We've all seen therapists and lied to them and, no, I don't drink anymore and all that stuff. But she said to me, you need long-term treatment. And I fired her immediately. But I saved the card of this treatment center. And I told my husband, I'm going to die, but I'm not dying. And I said, if I just go to the emergency room and get a medical detox again, I'll just end up drinking. I mean, I'll just go do the same thing. So maybe I need to go into this long-term treatment center. And I did. I went that day, and my last drink was, and of course they said, don't let her quit drinking, and thank God they said that. So my last drink on July 10th, 2000, was those little 4-packs of wine. And that morning when I woke up, I wanted to die. But I got to, first I had to go to a detox center before I went to this long-term treatment thing. But they kept me, I was in such bad shape, they kept me behind the nurses' station. And what the miracle is that morning when I woke up, I wanted to die. And that night, I was saying, please don't let me die. And I don't know how that happened. But so I went into this treatment center, and when I got there, it wasn't the right place for me. I probably spent it was hardcore too. I had been to all these fluffy places, and no phones ever, no TV. I mean, it was really strict stuff, but it took me a couple of weeks. I was trying to figure out, well, where should I go? Oh, there's this place in Florida. I haven't been there. And it's bad when you have your favorite treatment center. But I surrendered in that place. I realized I got me here. It wasn't my parents' fault. It wasn't my husband's fault. I am the one that got me here. And the beauty of that god-awful place was I wasn't busy all day. I mean, I could have taught rehab. I just couldn't apply it. But we had to just kind of sit in our own stuff. There was time to just be. And I couldn't manipulate. I didn't have the phone. I mean, I was in my 4th rehab where I had almost been dead a week earlier, and I'm on the phone worried about the landscaping and, coordinating stuff. It's just insane where I was. But this last treatment center, I just had to be. And I just made the decision, God, you have me alive for some reason. And I completely surrendered. And what that to me was my step 1, when I finally got to just shut up, just follow the directions. And I followed whatever the rules were. I followed every rule. So what do you know? When I get out, where do they send me? AA. I could have saved so much money, so much pain if I would have just done what the first treatment center told me to do, which is AA. So when I got out, I did what AA tells us to do. And so hopefully I'll keep somebody from needing to go to 5 more rehabs today. Just the solution, the grace, the tools, everything is right here. And I did 90 meetings in 90 days. I got a commitment. I got a sponsor. I started the steps. I did the steps in rehab, and I really like to say about the steps that for me, when I finally did that honest first step, the order of the steps is beautiful because I just was ready to do the next and the next. And when I know everybody worries about their 4th step and the 5th step, and the gift of the 5th step I walked away from there finding out that I am not the worst person in the world. And I really thought I was. And that was just the relief of the 5th step for me. And so I got sober. I stayed sober. Here I am, 13 years sober. And I have to tell, I have a couple of my favorite AA stories, but now I have a new favorite AA story. Thank you to Charlene and to Dawn. But I was here. I've been coming up to LA a lot on business and not going to meetings. How stupid. And I got in enough pain. I've never gotten away from AA. I've always had a sponsor, gone to my 3 or 4 meetings. But what was happening with me just the end of last year is my husband, I've been married 9 years now too. He's not new anymore. Not my new husband, but my husband. He's in the program also. And it's a beautiful life together. But sometimes for me, it was very hard. When there's things going on, it's hard for me because I don't want to talk about his stuff. So I had a new sponsor that I had just started working with, and I was holding back because sometimes my stuff I think is his stuff, and I just had a lot of things inside of me, and I wasn't really doing what we're supposed to do. And I got into a really dark place. I had a lot of fear, a lot of resentment, and I called my sponsor, and I said, I can't hold on to this anymore. I have got to get completely honest because I am hurting. And she came over to my house that morning. And sometimes you just have to just take a leap of faith and just get it off your chest. And it works. It works. She told me, you need to do 30 meetings in 30 days. She said I would say 90 and 90, but you're going to get some relief in 30. So 30 meetings in 30 days. I got right to work on another 4th step, did my 5th step. And what happened is, so now when I'm in LA, I came to meetings. And I met Charlene in the darkest day I've ever had in my sobriety. And I've been through 10 years of Alzheimer's with my mother and the end of life for both of my parents. I've been through pain. But this was a dark, I saw for the first time in my sobriety the true mental, spiritual illness of this disease. And I could not feel the gratitude that I usually felt. Because I cannot believe my life most of the time. But so anyway, I went to a meeting, doing my 30 and 30. I did what I was supposed to do when I was new. I reached out and people gave me their phone numbers. And I called them and we went for coffee. And I talked to Marcia on the phone, wherever Marcia is. Where else can you get that? These women didn't even know me. and they took time. And then Don, you should probably never say how low you are in an AA meeting because then you'll be asked to speak. So he asked me to speak at this meeting, and I came, so here I am. You know, I'm out of the darkness. Nothing's really changed. Not one circumstance has changed except I'm okay. I feel better. I know that God has a plan, and I just show up for my life on a daily basis and make sure that AA is at the top of my priority list, and I do not know how it works. It's crazy. I don't know how it works. I just know that it does. So it's funny because it was December. I was in this meeting thinking I don't know what my life is going to look like. I don't know how things are going to unfold. And I was trying to force solutions or whatever, and I just got through it. And now here I am, my speaking date, and you know, I'm grateful, I'm excited. I have some new things that I'm working on, and I've made new friends, and I'm getting connected in LA AA. So thank you for letting me share. Yes. Hi.
What was your most difficult amends?
Oh yeah. The question was, what was my most difficult amends? Probably, I really don't know. I don't want to say this because I don't want anybody else to be disappointed. But I mean, I felt good about my amends. I think the longest, the most rewarding was definitely, well, and I guess it was difficult. I mean, just the living amends to my mom and my dad. The year that I got sober is the year that my mom was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And so I went through just the 10-year process of that. But it was also the most rewarding, you know, to say goodbye, to be there when both of my parents died, knowing that they knew I was okay and knowing that I'm a good daughter. So that's my answer.
James, alcoholic. Thank you. In your first year of sobriety, or whenever you got to the fourth step, because you had so many in and outs, can you tell us a little bit about it, what it meant to you, how long it took to get there, all that on your fourth?
Thank you. The question is, how long did it take me to do the fourth step? What it meant to me. Yeah. Like I said, I mean, I couldn't, once I did that first step and the second step and the third step, to me, I was just walking around with the stuff that I could not wait to get off my chest. So it kind of came naturally, but there was an incident in rehab, and this is how I knew I was being so honest. We had this women's group in the rehab, and this one girl was getting kicked out of the rehab. And I was in this group, and everybody, I mean, with the counselors, we weren't gossiping. I mean, people were like processing what was happening in the community. And I was guilty of doing the same thing that she was getting kicked out for. I had done in another treatment center. And I felt like such a hypocrite. It just didn't sit well with me. And I immediately made I wasn't on the fourth step yet, but I immediately made an appointment with my counselor to tell her, you know, I don't feel right talking about this girl because, I mean, I've done that too. Not recently, but so anyway, I got it off my chest, and that was kind of like the keystone to being brutally honest. So I hope that helps.
Thank you for speaking. I had a question about your home group in San Diego. So say, for instance, I'm going to San Diego for a trip, might get a little bit antsy too when I'm outside of my like LA area.
Mhm.
So would you recommend going to a meeting when I'm in San Diego for work?
Yes, I would recommend going to meetings. The question was, would I recommend her going to meetings for work? Yes, because, we just feel better when we go to meetings. And my home group is 7 a.m. Monday through Friday at the Belly Up Tavern. And it is in this disgusting bar. And it's so powerful, though, because we sit on this one side, and I mean the bar and the alcohol and everything is over there. And if you're not grateful for your sobriety when you go to the restrooms at 7 a.m. in the morning after the bar has been open, it is so gross. Drunks they're not that neat. We're not that neat. So yes, I recommend coming to a meeting.
Laura, appreciated your honesty. How do you combine Rule 62 with Step 10?
I know. How do I combine Rule 62, which is don't take yourself so seriously, with Step 10? I have no idea. That's a tough one. I don't know. I'm not taking it seriously. Trick question. Yes.
You mentioned you had a few favorite stories in AA. Would you mind sharing those with us?
Oh, I can't believe you guys are interested in me. That is so nice. Thank you. She asked, were some of my other favorite AA stories? Yes, so this was my favorite until Charlene came into my life. In my first 3 years of sobriety, my ex-husband and I relocated 4 times in 3 years. I mean, across the country. And even for an alcoholic, I got sick of talking about myself, trying to get connected and meet people. And I mean, I was desperate. My sobriety was my number one priority, and I was desperate to just stay sober and get myself connected every time we moved. And so when we moved to San Diego, I was really pissed that we were moving again. Like every time I got my window treatments up, we'd move. And I know those are quality problems. But so the first night in San Diego, I went to a morning meeting in San Diego. Then I was just so angry and alone and actually cold. I didn't know California got cold. I was cold and angry. And so I said, I got to go to another meeting. So I show up at a women's meeting on Sunday night in Encinitas, and really tearful, angry, and I shared that I told them, I know my life depends on this, and but I'm so mad I don't know what I'm going to do. And they voted me in as secretary. I said, I really wish that I could sound better and look better meeting you all for the first time, but I'm falling apart. And so they voted me in as secretary for the next 6 months. And I swear that's how AA, we get you. We get you. And I want to say that my message, I like to say this to people, is, we always say keep coming back. But I also add keep coming back and tell the truth. Tell the truth and let us know if you're hurting.
You talked about your early work experience as being not successful. Can you talk about how your work experience now is different because of the program?
The question is my work experience prior to sobriety, not successful, and how is my work experience now? I don't know if I can say I'm successful. I can say that I'm creative, and I followed a dream. After my mom died, my mom and my dad in those first 10 years, I had this idea to publish a book, and I did it. And that's what's been bringing me to LA is my work and networking. And, I didn't know that I was creative. I didn't know that I was good with people. I would have never thought in a million years that I could do what I've done. And, you know, I just have God now. I trust him. He has a proven track record. And I really do, because I just know I don't know anything. I turn every part of my life over to him. Like every day I just say, I know you know my heart. I know you know my desires. I know you know my fears. What the hell do you want me to do today? Just show me what to do today. And I am led to things that I could have never dreamed up. Thanks for the question. Yes, Don.
Laura, thanks for sharing. There's a saying in the literature about principles before personalities. How do you deal with all the personalities that you encounter in Alcoholics Anonymous?
How do I deal with all the personalities that I deal with in Alcoholics Anonymous? Rule 62. I don't know. I don't know. I know in early sobriety, I would really think something's wrong with me if I don't. First, I thought everybody should like me, and I was really hurt when everybody doesn't like me. And then when I realized I don't like everybody, I felt kind of bad. But, you know, the beautiful thing is that we all care about each other. And it's not a bad thing. I mean, you click with some people and you don't click with some people. And for me to even say that so nonchalantly is a huge growth for me, because, I mean, I'm growing up, I think. Yes?
Could you talk a little bit about how you use your program to work with your mom?
Oh, that is such a sweet question. The question is, how did I use my program to work with my mom? I don't know, just staying in the moment, being present. That's one thing with Alzheimer's. You know, I learned in sponsoring people, it's pointless to argue with a drunk. And, you know, I didn't try to correct my mom. I just was able just to be and to savor the moment. And I couldn't have done any of the things that I've done without the tools of Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm not talking about not being drunk. I'm talking about all the tools, you know, that we get here, and the fellowship. And this is just the greatest miracle of my life. And I really thought AA was the worst thing. The worst. And it's the best. And I really do think this is the best party I have ever been to. I love it. So I'm done? Okay. Thanks.
I think we got a great talk going on here. Thanks for watching the channel. Taper Dave here. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I like to do it inside the cab of my truck so I'm not standing outside in the weather. To install the joysticks for control, up and down, right and left, powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with. And it's actually controlled through the iPhone, through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone, or through this Android phone, through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone, through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
Remote control is connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs. Long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside, then power it on one short burst, then one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the drone has to establish it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, out, in, up, down, and then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. Go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. I don't know if that shows up. The gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button, swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right. But I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.